GMO foods are not bad for us. GMO food are not bad for us, but should be labeled. Says NAFDAC. For the past weeks now, the internet has been roaring, and everybody, is just expressing their fears. I made a video on my channel on Great Dave Insight where I talked about how Bill Gates' company, seems to be, having hand in most of the policies that dictate our food and policing and other vital areas in our economy. And most of these things are part of the reasons why people have fears and a lot of people have doubts and everybody has suspicion. And here we are now, and we have NAFDAC saying that GMO foods, genetically modified foods, are not bad for us. And so who do we trust is the problem now. Was it weeks ago we saw a picture of Dr. Aproko. Dr. Aproko is one of the biggest medical influencers in Nigeria, someone that people tend to trust a little, and I think they saw a photo of he having a handshake with Bill Gates. And a lot of people just surmise to say that he has probably been bought by the Gates Foundation. And like the West Africa Weekly revealed, I covered that. You could go check out the video in Great Dave African Insight channel. It showed that Bill Gates influences most of our food policies, policing policies, and many vital policies that are taking place in Nigeria here. And it's not like he's the face, it has agencies. He has agencies that we don't see, but they are linked to it. Either they are being funded by it, or it's more like the parent company of these organizations. And so we just have a back and forth in between. But part of the problem is that when you look at the GMO situation, it's like when plants are grown, when GMO seeds are grown and where organic seeds are grown, it tends to conflict each other and it tends to prevent organic seeds from growing again. So in that case now, it now means that for you to grow any harvest again, the only way that you can achieve that would be by getting the GMO seeds. Now the GMO seeds can only be gotten from certain organizations, which leaves farmers at the mercy of these organizations. It means that if the organizations refuse to sell, then the farmers will not plant. If the organizations increase the price of the GMO seeds, then it leaves the farmers at the mercy of these people, and then it somehow risks our survival, because food is the number one thing for survival for human beings. And then it also means that the GMO seeds organizations can begin to influence these things, right? They can decide to give certain conditions, and then we may not know if the seeds they will continue to sell, how reliable it is. So it is risky to put our lives in the hands of these people. Although Aproko doctor made a video on GMO seeds, explained how even right before time our ancestors have been genetically modifying seeds, and that most of the plants that we see today or crops that we rear today were not the ones that were existing prior to now. But still, if we have to continue with the GMOs, sooner or later we'll find ourselves at the mercy of foreign organizations or exploiters, people that do not mean well for us, people whose intentions we do not know. And so it's definitely going to be a bad turn if it turns out like that. And so many people are saying, fine, if you are trying to force these GMO seeds on us, then label it so that when we go to the market, we can be able to tell which is which, which from which, so that we can know which from which and not go ahead and buy anything. Because these days now, even the apples, most people are complaining that the apples they eat seems to be GMO'd. And the watermelon, some people have seen pictures of watermelons that do not have seedlings in them, and the ones that have seedlings in them. And I've heard that the ones without seeds are the GMOs. So we do not know, so that we do not start eating poison. Before I play, let me play our Dr. Aproko's video for you, so you can hear what he said concerning GMO.
GMO, genetic modified organisms. I see, in my life, I've never seen a particular topic that have caused problem like this topic.
Exactly, it has really caused a lot of problem, and you can't blame people. This is something that we consume, and understanding that the players, the players behind the GMO itself are not people that we can trust. And so everybody is scared. Nobody has trust for these things. In fact, everyone is just wondering if this is a plan to depopulate the country. So everyone is scared that you cannot blame anybody. Like I said, the West Africa's Weekly exposed where it showed that Gates is behind all of these things. Everyone is beginning to doubt Bill Gates' philanthropic mission, or his so-called philanthropic mission. And then we now saw Aproko Doctor again having a handshake with him, like, oh, Aproko should preach to us and tell us that, oh, GMO is good, so that, oh, we can now relax. And then they carry out their ulterior motives. So everyone is scared. No one trusts him, even though, yes, he comes out with this and then tries to give us these elaborate explanations. But then all eyes on deck, and we'll continue to watch.
People on one side, another people on one side, they just have the argument. As a matter of fact, there's nothing you will say about GMO that's going to please anybody, whether for or against. But my job today is to give you the facts on GMO unaltered.
Now, I think due to the whole rumor and the whole suspicion surrounding him, he had to put this to say, this opinion in this video are my opinions alone, and the video was not sponsored by any organization or person. It is just to clear doubts. But then still, you can still put this, and still we will still have our fears, true or false. So it is just a general fear everywhere.
Let's start from G, genetic. Made up of DNA that send particular codes to give you something that you can see in an organism or how it acts. For example, when you born your child, there's how you will look at your child. You just know automatically, this is my child. Because if you are short, is there a possibility that that child is going to be short? If you have bare head, is there a possibility that the child is going to have bare head? If your head is like triangle seat, that child is going to have head like triangle seat. One of the reasons why people start to do DNA testing is because they born their child and their child looks like it does not have the same genes that they have. We understand that? Yes. But aside from how an organism looks, there are other certain things that, you might also want, right? It could be that some people they used to fall sick to malaria. That could be a genetic trait. Some people cannot have HIV. That's a genetic trait, right? Now, this is just human being. Hope you know that you can also have these particular genes in plants. For example, some plants have big seeds, some plants have small seeds. Some plants have longer stems, some plants, insects cannot eat it. Some plants, insects used to attack. These are just genetic abilities that plants follow and come. But now, when we say genetic modification, some of us think that genetic modification actually started in 2024, 2025. It's not true. Genetic modification has been there since the days of our forefathers. So your forefathers been doing genetic modification. Yes, I said it. It's just that they did not have lab. It was not accurate. There was no magnifying glass for them to test this thing. For example, if your forefather was a farmer and he found that this particular plant have big seeds and I want to have big seeds the next season, your father does something, or your forefather does something where, selective breeding, in case that plant, make sure a plant's only it alone. So
yes, it's a fact that yes, our forefathers did these things. But I think there are some points to clarify again, which is where people began to dig deep. One of the things is that we found out that when you use GMO seeds in a particular place, the next time it will be difficult to use the normal organic seeds that you used before, except you have to use GMO seeds, which means that the GMO seeds are trying to make farmers dependent on them. And that is very risky. When now the farmers now have to rely on organizations for the GMO seeds, which I've said earlier on. But when our forefathers did this, it did not happen that the seeds they use after using it, if you try to plant something else, it won't work there. So these are some of the intricacies that concern the GMO seeds and that are causing worries. This is what is causing worries a lot. Where now we have to use a particular seed, and then when we try to go back to the previous one, it cannot work, except we now have to meet the people who now provided it the first time for it. I won't play all of the video. You can just visit his channel and check out this video, The Truth About GMO Seeds. I want to go ahead and play the video on Channels TV that says that GMO foods are not bad for us, but they should be labeled appropriately.
GMOs are genetically modified foods when it comes to food, and they are not bad for us. They are not bad for us, depending on what type of foods they are and whether the safety considerations have been taken. The National Biosafety Management Agency, NBNA, is the agency charged for ensuring safety of foods that have GMOs.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with them. I'm a food freak. I want to know that what I'm eating is going to give me a good health outcome. I look at the label. I want to be sure that NAFDAC label is on it, or if I'm outside the country, well, I don't do a lot of shopping now, but before my time in NAFDAC, when I had all the time, I would look at the label. And it's supposed to have genetically modified food written on it.
Okay.
We work in collaboration with the Biosafety Management Agency. We have an MOU with them. They are mandated to ensure that the foods that have GMO are of quality, they are safe, and they're efficacious. Or they are safe. Actually, the efficacy is another agency that is taking care of that.
Okay.
So when you look at foods on the table, in the market, especially grocery stores, you will see foods labeled organic. You will find labels that are not organic.
Yes.
And people have choice to buy which one they want. But for NAFDAC, our goal, we are mandated to ensure that the food that we approve for the market are safe, they are of quality, of course, and they're efficacious. So that is the reason why the collaboration between us and MBNA is very, very solid. Without them certifying that they have done their due diligence in their laboratory or for desk review or whatever, we cannot approve.
Okay.
So it is a...
Yeah, so that's it, you see, that's it. But then we still have our worries, because one of the real fears is that the health sector in Nigeria is poor. And for you to get access to a very good medical health care, you have to be very rich. Most of these so-called people in charge of these agencies are rich enough to fly abroad and get themselves good medical treatment. Are we prepared for the consequences of the GMO introduction when they begin now to lead to different illnesses that we probably do not have the capacity to tackle? And when you look at the bulk of the people complaining, it is the layman, the man who cannot afford these things, that is right here complaining, because he knows that when the consequences begin to show up, he may not be able to fix it. And he knows that his government is not as reliable as that of the foreigners that are bringing in these things here. And so he's afraid. And so it's why he's crying out. Now, she bragged here to say that we work hand in hand with these people. We make sure to see the efficacy and see the legitimacy of these things. But it is easy to say that you do. And then we go to the market and then we do not find GMO products that are labeled, which is also a big fear. And so it is all these things that we wonder. Our Aproko doctor now talked about, our forefathers have been doing these things. But then, did our forefathers prevent organic seeds or other seeds from growing in that same place? So these are these in-betweens that we need to look into and understand that they may say GMO seeds are good for us, but we still fear. After all, we have been doing fine without GMO seeds. So the question is, why are we introducing GMO seeds? And why is it foreigners that are introducing it? Another question I like to ask is that if our forefathers actually introduced these things, right, it means that our forefathers passed down the technique of cultivation to the ones who are cultivating today, which means that yes, they might have passed it down to the current farmers that we have today. And so if need be for GMO, then yes, the people who are living today, our current farmers probably are already carrying out the GMO foods, even though yes, without the whole clinical laboratory thing. But they are already doing it. They can do it. It is not foreigners that should come and give us reason to GMO our foods. It is not foreigners that should tell us how we should GMO our foods or when to. It is not the foreigner that should be introducing it to us, but we ourselves know how to go about it. I feel like this is a force feeding. It's like trying to force Africans or Nigerians into this, which I do not find healthy in any regard at all. So let me hear your take on this. As much as you educate us on this, we still have our worries because we have been surviving without GMO. So what is the need for GMO?